Welcome everyone. As I requested earlier, please kindly write where you come from, which city, which country. We would love to know which geographies we have here. And if you'd like to talk about your experience in AI, also don't hesitate, because this is a panel about women in AI. So we would love to know how familiar you are to the topic. And also, if you have any questions anytime, just please write it in the chat of session. So there are two chats, one event, one session. Please write it in the session, because that will be here where we see. So with no further introduction from me, I'm going to start the panel. So my name is Moonshot. Welcome, everyone. I am the co-founder of Women in AI. Women in AI is a global nonprofit organization based in Paris, France, but with a global mission across the world to close the gender gap in AI. So we have a huge community today, thanks to all our ambassadors around the world. We have more than 7,000 members across more than 130 countries across the world. We are fully operating on a voluntary basis. And we have now, I believe, more than 40 chapters. It grows every day, so I don't remember exactly. We have a Slack channel where you can find us. We have a website you can find us. And today, I would love to introduce our dear panelists today with us. So I'm going to start from the first row. We have Irene Ratis with us. Irene, hello. So Irene is a data scientist at Gesture. She's based out of New York. We have Susan with us. Susan Verdiguel from Mexico. And we have Francie with us from Toronto, Canada. She's also a data scientist. We have a huge data scientist, group. And then we have Noelle Silver with us. And Noelle, welcome. I believe you're also based in Florida, right?
I am. I just moved here, so it's super exciting.
So I would like to ask each of you, just briefly introduce yourself, your work, what you do for the audience, so we can start the conversation after. So Irene, maybe you go first.
Sure. Hi, everyone. I work as a data scientist for a company called Gesture. It's a gift-giving app. And I also organize events for women in AI, USA. And I'm involved with the Y Awards, which we're going to be talking about a lot today. And I also organize events for women in data. So I'm always talking to speakers, entrepreneurs, people that work in the field. And I think we're going to be talking about some of the same topics we talk a lot about in our events. So I'm really excited.
Irene, thank you. Suzanne, would you go next?
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be with such as amazing women from Women in AI. My name is Susan. I'm currently ambassador of Women in AI in Mexico. We are really happy to be Women in AI as the first chapter in Latin America, to have representation in Latin America. And I'm responsible AI advisor as well. I'm really, really happy, to be here today and to fight for amplifying her women voices. And well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I don't know, how do we say Happy International Women's Day in Spanish? Can you tell us?
Yes, Feliz Día de la Mujer.
Feliz Día de la Mujer. Bravo.
Yes, bravo.
Amazing. Thank you. I'm practicing my Spanish recently, so yeah, good to know. So
no problem.
Okay. So happy International Women's Day, everyone. This is Francie Clement, and I'm representing the Women in AI Canadian chapter. All the women AI professionals and enthusiasts from Canada. So I help the team with marketing, Y Talk, and also the Y Awards activities. And professionally, I am a data scientist. I come from a business marketing background, later moved towards data science AI field because of my love for data analytics. And I'm so excited to be part of this event, sharing the same platform with lots of amazing, wonderful ladies across the globe, and and so much contributing towards increasing women participation in AI globally. And so good to be here, and we have a lot to talk to today. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Princey. And Noelle, please. Noelle is actually our advisor, an amazing advisor at the Women AI Awards North America. So please, Noelle, welcome. Please
Yes, thank you so much. It's so wonderful to see all of you and be able to do something fun like this on International Women's Day. I wish we could do it every day. My day today is stacked with opportunities.
I think it would be so hard to do this that we do every day, right?
I know. Boy, it would be fun. But for those of you who are not familiar with me or my career, I started in AI basically 7 years ago now when Alexa was born. So it's an early member of the Alexa team, and I probably should mute it. And I dove right in, and I knew nothing. So I represent those of us who are in this space that have always wanted to get into data science or machine learning, but weren't classically trained. And I represent kind of this constituency of people that have diverse ideas and thoughts and want to bring that to the world of AI. And so I'm really hoping that as we talk, we'll talk about how important it is that you don't have to have, a traditional career. You can do a career change. You can start a new career. You can even don't even have to necessarily go into the technical side of AI. We need so many people to be involved in product and user experience and just taking the world of artificial intelligence and making it real for businesses. So I currently am the vice president of solutions architecture at a company called Electrify. And what we do is we basically commoditize, or we build machine learning models and make them available as a service to companies who can't afford to build their own. So super excited to be here, and nice to meet all in the chat. Hello. It's so good to see my friends. So nice to see everybody. I look forward to this conversation.
Oh yeah, we have some more friends actually coming to the chat. So welcome everyone. Thanks a lot. You can post your questions anytime you need, by the way, for the newbies. So thank you so much, all of you. Our topic of the panel today is the state of women in artificial intelligence. I would love to know what you think, each of you. What is the state of women in AI in the world, globally, in your local ecosystem, knowing that we still have this gender gap issue. Since 4 years we have launched Women AI, we see slowly getting better, but people and companies are more aware about the issue, the diversity. At least they are working on certain levels, maybe on their marketing, evangelizing on the topic, trying to recruit more women. The percentage is still around 20% of participation. That is, the statistics we see. What is your take of the state of women in AI today? Maybe we started with Irene.
Sure. Yeah. I think the most staggering kind of number is that actually, 40 years ago in 1980, there were more women that were studying computer science than there are today, and it's almost halved. So it's pretty dire, and I think the philosophical question is really, are we going to look at the world and kind of let it tell us who we are? Because thank you so much, Noelle, for saying what you said about, coming from a non-traditional background, because it was something that I resisted for a long time. I had my background in economics and international relations, more on the political side, and heard all the time from people, oh, you're the people person, you're really good with people, and I was like, I guess I'm the people person, right? And then I just always had that interest and always hung out with the technical people and always worked at tech companies, and finally it dawned on me, maybe I should be one of those people, and I think a lot of women, as they're coming in, we see that they're not so interested in math, they're not so interested in having that kind of classical background. So partly it's, okay, how do we inspire the younger girls to be interested in these fields? And then secondly, it's how do we inspire more women that are working, that think this is cool? I mean, it is cool. It's the fourth industrial revolution, it's fascinating. So how do we create opportunities for women to come in from other fields, and whether they're technical or not, they're still, desperately needed as far as diversity goes, because it's even worse for people of color. And, here we're talking about women, so that's going to be the focus. But I mean, we are in desperate need of diversity all around.
Thank you. And how is it growing for you think, in your, for example, in New York, have you seen any bold, evolution or any trends you've noticed recently?
Yeah, I think like having more groups like this, I mean, Women in AI is a network of 13,000 women. Women in Data is a network of 9,000+ women. So, really, I mean, from my perspective, I would say, there have to be policy changes that promote more involvement from women, coming from our leadership. But if we don't have that, then what do we do, right? We create grassroots kind of initiatives. We create more opportunities for networking, for mentorship, because that's the thing. It's whether you're going into the field to work, for a company, or whether you want to create your own company. The numbers are even lower for female entrepreneurs in the AI space. So it's really, creating that safety net and creating opportunity for people that are curious to kind of take that curiosity and see where it's going to lead them.
You're also leading the chapter of data, Women in Data, right? Women in Data in New York. So you do amazing job.
That's right. Mm-hmm. For New York City and Boston.
Maybe we stay in the US area and we go to Noelle and know what is your take on the topic.
It's interesting because I'm working very heavily, or at least I started my career very heavily in natural language and in linguistics. And it was actually very much dominated by women. It was the first time I joined a data science organization where it was like 70% women, which was awesome. But it also was one of those things that gave me a false sense of security. So even this 20%, we're now 20%, which is more than we've had it in a long time. And it seems like a lot. But so when I'm in these teams, I'm like, oh, wow, there's a lot of women here. But now as I've grown as a leader in different companies, and you get a more holistic view of our industry and really a more holistic view of our products that we're releasing, really there isn't that distinct voice of diversity, or diversity even of thought, not just gender, but all things, right? Just the way that we think. It's very clear, and I certainly was a part of this. It was very clear that we all were just kind of nodding and saying yes to the same questions as we built something like Alexa. Or even at Microsoft, I was part of building a lot of the machine learning models into cognitive services. And we didn't ask hard questions. No one at the table was dissenting, right? And I realize now that even though we as humans kind of don't like conflict, it's literally what creates products that serve more people. And so now I realize that even though the perception is that we're getting better, we actually have a long way to go, because our products still end up serving the 1% of the 1%, and it does tend to be more geared towards a certain gender. So I think we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to talk about actually more about ethics and AI in the next panel that we have. But what you mentioned is absolutely, it's a key of all the, conversations around the biased products and how and when we should ask certain questions. That if we don't do it, then it's a little bit too late. There will be like costs associated with it, which are human costs, because some people will be ignored or even suffered from that product. There will be financial costs, there will be reputation costs. So all of these with a little bit more thinking, but that's the hard part of it, right? It's super hard to anticipate.
It's often what I say is diversity is actually really expensive, right? And it's not just expensive in the cost of like getting more diverse people involved in the conversation, but it's actually expensive from the beginning. Like being able to make sure that your pipeline of candidates coming in, you have to wait. Because if I don't wait, it'll be filled with people like we have now, a homogeneous group of people. It will not be unique. And I think going to what Irene and maybe Susan, you had both mentioned, if we do nothing, women in general, we tend to be like, well, I mean, that person's pretty good at this, right? We're quick to point out other people that have skill sets that we ourselves even have. But we're quick to be like, oh no, I'm not the one to talk about that. That person is. And we elevate each other. But in doing that, we often elevate the voices that are common. I call it like an echo chamber, right? People that agree with each other. And we sit back a little bit. And so what I found is a hiring manager, as I'm hiring data scientists, found that if I didn't actually wait for a woman to join, like to be part of that pipeline, I would have filled it with a man easily, quickly. And I had to be willing to go to bat with my executive leadership and say, if we want a product that serves everyone, we have to wait for the right team. And we have to do things, to your point, Irene, right? We have to do more community type activities to get in front of those people, to let them know that there's a place for them. Because so many of us women are like, even after, I mean, I built over 100 skills for Alexa. I have over 1 million unique users. It took me like 3 years to claim that I was good at it, even though I had defined metrics of success. But sometimes we're really slow to kind of take our stand and say that. So I feel like it's not just the US, it's probably a global thing, is that we really need to empower people to step into what they know and take a chance. Like I was lucky, I got to go to Alexa and I had no prior skills. They just knew I was passionate and I was persistent. So how do we get more leaders into this space that can create that for others? And I feel like this group, as well as everyone in the chat, we're all part of that, right? Every role we have and every job we have to figure out ways to not only raise ourselves, but also others coming behind us.
Yeah. And I absolutely loved what you said.
Yeah, and I think...
Yeah, please go on, Irene.
To your point, Noelle, about the hiring, it's so pronged because, on the one hand, you've got people's traditional biases of like, okay, what does this technical role look like, right? Who do I instinctively trust? Maybe if you're always working with, let's say white males, you're almost primed to expect that white male in front of you is a superior candidate because you've known, this gender imbalance already exists, right? So we ourselves, our algorithms that are our brains have already this selection bias. Now couple that with the AI tools that are being used to screen candidates, right? Like Amazon had recently made a public admission about not using AI-powered recruitment tools anymore because it was amplifying the biases that we already see in society. And why is that, right? Because they were created by human beings, and we were giving them, it's probably scanning all these resumes, right? And if it's seeing that, okay, maybe a good data scientist used to play like men's lacrosse in high school because it keeps seeing men's lacrosse. I mean, this is just, it's probably not true, but I don't know how athletic all the AI guys out there are. But, it's just, the point is we are essentially automating the process of diversity through flawed AI tools. And it's not just Amazon. I mean, Amazon, I give them kudos for publicly saying that because we need more companies to say that. We need more legislation to control what kinds of AI-powered algorithms are behind the scenes. We know that there are, from getting a mortgage to going to prison to buying a car, like everything has AI behind the scenes. We don't see it. So it's really a public issue of like, data privacy and also like scanning these algorithms to make sure that they don't have biases as much as we can.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, both of you, for sharing your point of view. Let's go to Mexico, Susan, huh? Susan, what do you think about the state of women in AI and specifically in Mexico?
Well, I think that the lack of representation of women is a global problem. However, in Mexico, it's a problem and with a with a bigger gap because it's different. Here, for example, the representation of women, for example, in the fields of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or the STEM field that are key disciplines for the development of AI, the representation in Latin America it's like 70%. I mean, the gap, the 70%. So that's a huge lag. So here, it's a little bit different because we have been living in a society with a patriarchy. So that means that, we have like for generations, this society that has tried to stop our voices, that has tried to stop our fights. So I think it's a little bit different. And for example, here with women in AI in Mexico, we are leaders here. We are pioneers here, with this movement, because this is something new. This is something new for us. Even when we speak with young women, when we speak with other organizations, they always give us congratulations on doing such an amazing job here in Mexico, because as well we are being a big inspiration for the rest of the countries in Latin America for this, for starting this job, because it's as a pioneers, this is a huge job. This is not like, for example, in USA or in in Canada, that the ecosystems are bigger, that they have more stuff. No, here it's something new. So with this movement, it's like, whoa, really? A group of women are doing such an amazing job. They are representing, Mexico. They are fighting for all those voices of those women, that they have these kind of issues as well, but they don't know that there is a community that can help them. So for those, it's something amazing. For us, it's really something that we know that is a huge job, but we are trying to do. For example, here in Mexico, and not only in Mexico, but the representation of women is really low. And for example, another study in the Inter-American Development Bank provides gender diversity gap in AI research that was found that this was global, that for example, a research of 11,000 publications present, only 18% of the authors are women. And for example, for the region of Latin America, that is less, because, for example, they found that only 3 countries that, with Spanish language as a native language, it's only the representation, it's only in those publications, were only Argentina, Mexico, and Brazil. So it's like that the reports had women as an author or co-author. So that can well, you can see that is low, but for us it's a huge representation that at least women are doing something, that women are trying, to make researches, that they are trying, that to work on ethical part of AI, to work on, the stage of Mexico or in artificial intelligence, as emerging economies. So as from women in AI, for that reason, a part of those, this conversation with women in AI awards, we want to give them that visibility, that in an ecosystem, that in a developed ecosystem, they are trying to work. They are working so hard to do this, So yeah, basically is that, we are really new in this, and we are so proud of working. So we are so proud of being part of this amazing community. And well, yeah.
We are so proud to have you actually on board with us and helping us, to spread our mission and values and activities. So kudos to you. I know that you've been involved in many projects so far. I know you've been involved in the project AI and It's anti-violence against women.
Yeah, AI for gender equality. It was a report.
So that's the report. Maybe you can share the link in
That's
the
awesome.
chat so people can see it. Absolutely amazing job. And we know that, for example, I'm living in Paris, and in Europe, for example, it's very saturated when we talk about AI, and it's now more and more known that, okay, what is the problem. There are so many women organizations doing that work, while sometimes we think we are in our bubble. We don't understand that how different can be country by country, and that's absolutely amazing to share this knowledge. So let's go to Canada with Fincy. Fincy, what is your take on that, the state of women in AI in your local ecosystem, national?
Thanks, Moonshot. So it is not going to be so different from what other speakers have shared. So traditionally, we have seen that women in CS careers, computer science background, they are much lesser than the other other STEM careers. Women traditionally used to opt non-CS careers a lot, but recently we have been seeing a lot of change in that. They are ready to be taking a computer science background and moving towards AI. If you look at globally, there is AI is moving so fast. There is more than 40% growth in investment globally. And even if you look at Canada AI jobs, it has been significantly growing. Even in USA, North America altogether, it is significantly improving. And but what is happening with women in AI is one of the recent reports that I read, AI Index report by Stanford HAI. It says that only 18% of the PhD graduates in AI are women. But if you look at Canada, it's even lesser. It's around 14-15% of overall women in AI research, right? So we still see that gap, and I believe that we have a long way to go when we have to reach that point of that gender balance. And what I understand is that so as AI is evolving, and as to Irene's point of Amazon dropping that product because the product itself had issues of biases. So how is it affecting AI evolution? How is this diversity issue affecting the AI product itself? Is that unless we fix the issue of diversity in AI workforce, all this AI system products, research, anything that we do, we build that unconscious bias unknowingly into the product itself, and it is going to affect each of us personally, because everything that we do on a daily life is almost related to AI. So gender bias is kind of baked into all these AI tools. So now, what do we think that could be done, right? We are in a path set to progress or advance women towards AI. From Canada ecosystem perspective, we have three main institutes: Edmonton, Montreal, and Toronto. We have Mila, Amy, and Vector institutes, where there is a focus on artificial intelligence and all the research projects backed by the government itself. And government is also trying to consciously put effort towards, picking women, choosing women to move towards AI. So, for example, British Columbia government, they have this program called Athena Pathways, where they are funding 500 women to take a career in artificial intelligence. Similarly, in Alberta government, I've seen that they are giving some awards specifically for women in STEM careers. So what needs to be done is that conscious effort on promoting women, because unconsciously we have reached this stage, or unintentionally we have reached this stage. So now what we need is that conscious effort to bring in that diversity. And, and it happens in all levels. So, for example, it has to be in this community that, we have put together, our neighborhoods, in schools, colleges, universities, corporates, government. So every place there should be something that support and motivate women to take AI related career paths. And also we also need the leaders and the government to understand that diversity is something, it's not like a secondary, it is primary, it is something that we cannot live without. And I believe like women in AI also started with the same goal in mind, to fill in the gap in gender imbalance. And also we can encourage and build platform that is necessary for women to take up AI related paths. So I believe we are in the right track, and we have a long way to go to reach that goal.
Yeah, but it's a long way to go, but we don't give up, and we're doing, whatever we can do. And one of the things that actually we're doing is organizing Women AI Awards since now, actually 2 years. So the first awards was launched in 2019 to help and promote female entrepreneurs in AI. The year after, we expanded it to female entrepreneurs and innovators in AI, and now we're going to, so we launched it in Europe, we launched it in Australia and New Zealand. Now we're expanding to the North America, and we're super excited to actually share these new awards and the details with you. So this is going to be the next topic that we're going to focus on to the end of our time today. So maybe let's stick with you, Francie, because you're the person who's, running the awards, helping us, to coordinate between the three countries of the US, Canada, and Mexico. Do you want to share a little bit about why we're organizing this? What's the mission? And, a few highlights about the awards and information?
Yes, for sure. So yeah, thanks to the wonderful leaders in the Women in AI Global team, we have had Women in AI Awards starting, in Europe 2 years back, and also started in Australia and New Zealand. Now that we are looking at October 2021 for our Y Awards North America, and this is kind of our sincere effort, as I talked about, creating a platform. So we give that visibility, and we celebrate and honor the women in artificial intelligence, not just in research, not just in innovation, but any phase or any field, any particular role that women plays in AI, we want to celebrate that. So it can be in research, it can be in corporate industry, government, you can be a young role model in AI. So we have overall put together 6 award categories and 8 awards for specifically trying to pick women in all these phases, in all these different roles. And so we are looking at for a timeline perspective, we are looking at October 2021 for have the celebration, and fingers crossed we'll be releasing the applications in April, and and there will be a window of like close to 2 months to receive the application. We have a very strong team that is supporting us. Irene, Susan from USA and Mexico team, and also advisors like Noelle. We have been, guiding us through all the activities, starting from the beginning. We have started this efforts like 5 months ago. We have a great team working and contributing towards all that we have seen. And thanks to all of you, I take this opportunity to thank all of you who have been spending so much time away from their personal life, from work life, just because you have that drive and you want to see this change, right? You want to see this change, and that is why you make this conscious effort to share your time with others. And thanks everyone for doing that. And we invite every one of you to apply and nominate for yourselves for this awards. We are not looking for some rocket scientist here. We are looking for people like you and me, people who are in Women in AI, who wants to advance, who wants to get that visibility. That is what we are looking at. So
Yeah.
Maybe Irene and Susan.
Yeah. Let's have a round, a tour of the table, about what you think about the awards, Irene. Why you think it's important? What's the message you want to pass to your local ecosystem so they join the awards?
Yeah, I think what's really powerful about this moment, we've talked about some of the algorithms and things, and it goes back to that philosophical question of like, okay, we're not going to accept the world as it is. We don't like this picture, we don't like these numbers, right? So we're doing something about it, and that's really the inherent beauty and power of this moment, because we're talking about AI and how it's used in so many areas of our lives, and we're probably in 20 or 30 years going to look back and talk about it much like we talk about asbestos. Like back in the day, it was like, hey, this is the next new thing to insulate our walls or whatever, and then it like ruined people's lives, right? So we're seeing how AI is, what the power of AI is, and that power is going to continue to increase. So in the gender, lens, the power that it has is, it may inhibit women from having those opportunities. So we're not accepting that fate, right? We are creating infrastructure to serve as a landing page for women that are interested in this field in whatever capacity, whether they're students, whether they're from other careers. So I feel a tremendous amount of urgency for these kinds of groups. And I think the greater message is, like Francie said, no matter what your background is, if you are remotely interested in this, if you have any glimmer of excitement about this field, we want to be there for you. We want to nurture you, whether that's entrepreneurial or, again, whether that's you wanting to start a new career and work, through the ranks, right? We want to be able to provide a network for you to rely on, people that you talk to, like real people that you can send a message to. And what I'm most excited about as far as the award ceremony is, we're, like we said, celebrating achievements that have already happened. So PSA, if you or someone that is doing tremendous work in AI, we want you to nominate them. We want to know them. We want to get to know them and see where we can provide opportunities for them downstream. So, I'm very much excited about the opportunity that we have ahead of ourselves. And in a lot of ways, these are opportunities that we are creating ourselves. We're not allowing the world to tell us who we are. We're telling the world who we are. So that's really exciting.
So much. And for those of you who are here who haven't heard about the conversation so far, because I see some new people joining, we actually, so as I already mentioned, we're really there to support those who are applying, those who are willing to move their startup to the next level, or move their project, research project, or their corporate project to the next level. What we did, for example, for entrepreneurs over the past 2 years, we tried to raise funds and finance their projects also. It's not a big funding, but at least we're trying to close the funding gap as well. And we are also helping, those companies to connect with corporations, to have a client, but mostly to really promote them. Because when we are focusing on entrepreneurs, especially, there are like early stage startups. So as an early stage startup, a woman in AI, it should be really hard. And we know that. And so that's actually what we're doing. And for the rest of the categories, so we are now closing the Australian chapter, and we have so many partners coming to us, helping us. They all want to support these women. And if there's anybody in the audience who's interested in partnering up with us for the North America, please don't hesitate to contact us. We're going to put the contact details there. But this is really what we want to do. We want to provide opportunities and those resources that women need in order to advance in AI. So maybe Susan, you want to have a word about the awards from the Mexican perspective?
Yeah, that this is a huge challenge for us, because we are contributing to these Women Awards with USA and with Canada. That the ecosystems are bigger, but for us, it's really excited and really amazing, because we want to give those women that visibility that they deserve. That we know that in Mexico we don't have so much women, so many women, such as in the two countries, but such as USA and Canada. But we know that we have here in Mexico. So we want to know them, we want to celebrate them, and of course, we want to give them that visibility that they are not alone. That in this path they are not alone. That we are with them. That we want to encourage them as well. That they continue that hard work that they are doing, and of course that as women we can help each other. That we can give us that strength that we need to continue in this difficult path, because sometimes as women it's really difficult, to be in this technology field sometimes, and well, they are not alone.
Absolutely. Thanks, Susan. Noelle, maybe you want to tell us what do you think about the awards? Why somebody should join, and why you think we need such awards or such initiatives to promote women leadership in the field?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the reasons I was so excited that the awards were coming to North America was because I am often asked to, I'm sure as many of us are asked to go on stage, join a panel, do a keynote. And I am always very saddened to find I'm the only woman on that stage, or worse, I'm not asked to actually speak, but maybe I'm asked to moderate, right? And moderate a panel of people that are not diverse. And what I found was surprising, that it wasn't that women weren't being asked. It was actually because women didn't actually feel confident that they could do it. So they would actually say no. And so I feel like it's double-edged. One, we don't ask people enough, but the other, we don't have I loved what you both said about community and not being alone, Susan. That was so important, because oftentimes we feel like our experience, what's so special about it, right? Like what do I have to talk about? And you don't realize, what I have learned is that there is always someone one chapter behind you, or even potentially a book behind you, that is like looking up for some sense of like, what can I do? Am I going to be successful? Is there anyone like me here? And they don't actually need to know how many papers you've written, or how many, jobs you've had, or what company you work for. They just want to know that somebody's done what they're trying to do, and that they're happy, and that they've found contentment. One of the most common questions I am asked is, are you able to have a fulfilled life? One thing I always think about in these types of events and on days like today is how difficult it is for a woman to even be in this space. Like, we kind of have to be exceptional just to play, right? Just to make it through all of the patriarchy and all of the AI models. Just to get through, you kind of have to be better, and then you're just seen as the same, right? So I have 4 children. I have one with Down syndrome. I have my dad who lives with me. I have a very full life on top of being an executive. And I don't think, certainly younger people must look at me and be like, oh my gosh, how's that even possible? I could never see myself having kids if I have to work this hard just to keep my job, or just to be good at my job, right? So I think the more of us that could just tell our stories, they don't have to be miraculous, amazing, triumph to, rags to riches stories. We just want to know who's out there. So I love this community. I think part of the awards is really just celebrating people that have done something, that are willing to tell their story. And if we can make it a launch pad for people, create opportunity for people to get on a stage. I'll tell you, the one reason I love being on stage now is because the first 5 years, I spoke to people who loved me no matter what I said. And that is so important, like in Women in AI or in Women in Data, I'm sure, right? No matter who gets up and what they say, we support them because we actually like them. It's not about saying the right thing or having the perfect message. It's just about being willing to be authentic enough to speak out loud so someone can hear you. And I love communities like this. I think these awards will help us celebrate those voices and hopefully be an example to those one chapter behind going, can I be on stage? I just got asked to be on a panel. Can I do that? Yes, because all of us have done it. We're doing it right now. And you're full of a room full of people who support you. So I'm super excited about the awards. And there's just so many women in this space doing amazing work in ethics, in in all sorts of AI, not just computer vision, AI for good, AI for humanitarian efforts, AI for Earth. There's so many different areas, and we haven't really celebrated them. I remember I wrote an article the other day about a woman who was doing amazing work, and all these people were like, who is this? I've never heard of this person. I'm like, well, you quoted the book she wrote, or you use the paper she wrote in order to do the work you're doing, but people just don't have visibility. So I think a big part of this awards that I'm excited about is increasing the visibility of the amazing work that's already being done. So thank you so much for asking, because I'm super excited about it.
No, that's absolutely amazing what you said. Like, I totally relate with all the points that you mentioned about like asking you to speak, just to moderate a panel full of women, or like feeling, feeling being shy, or sometimes, for example, myself, I was shy, like a syndrome of being shy on the stage. So it was like, starting a new company, being an entrepreneur, need to pitch your company on the stage, and then you feel like, oh, I cannot do it. I froze. It's a long time to work on yourself and to have that safe environment. Nobody judges you.
Yes.
And yeah, the thing you mentioned, it's just, it makes me happy every time I hear it from anybody, because so many people in our community, just because we have this safe environment and we organize these events called Way Talk, they just speaking for the first time. And that was when, like, for example, one of them, she's ambassador in a country I don't want to mention because they're known, but she was saying, yeah, they invited me on this panel, and the woman next to me, she's absolutely amazing, PhD in AI, doing this and that. How can I speak next to her? I'm saying, hey, you're just gonna speak because you're the ambassador of the country, and you're sharing the same passion, you're sharing the same vision, you're doing a great job also in your studies, because she was a student at the time. And saying, don't feel that you're less than that. Just go and share the story. That's all, we need to do. And everybody's story is inspirational. So
yes. And one of the things I started doing, there's a new platform called Clubhouse, which is audio only. And I would create these, yes, and there's all these rooms that are very official, and you go in and you're like listening to speakers. And I just started creating rooms. We have a couple of them a week that are just chats. And I would encourage all of these women who would never get on a stage. Now it's a little bit better, right? I love the idea of audio only, because again, for women, it's different. It's not like a man can just be like, here's what I look like. For women, we tend to feel like I have to have my hair done, I have to put my makeup on. And there's just a little bit of a different dynamic, I feel, for men to be able to just hop up and speak, and women. And so one of the things that I'm really excited about is just opening up rooms and letting people, like the initiative you just mentioned, just talk, just get up and introduce yourself. So many people have never actually introduced themselves in a public setting before. And it's nerve-wracking. They're so nervous to even unmute their mic. So just creating these spaces and opportunities, I think, is such a big part about, and all these women are already doing amazing work. It's just, can we get you to say it out loud and share your story with the world? Because I think then they'll realize that 20% is actually big, and it's growing. But if we're all really quiet and we don't share our stories, even if we get to 30, 40%, if our voices aren't heard, I don't know. I feel like there's something to be said about us empowering women to not only do good work, but then also to share it with the world.
And that would probably accelerate that growth, because, we talk a lot about imposter syndrome, and it comes up a lot. And, to a degree, I think that it's, it is gendered, so I think it has a lot to do with kind of our working model of the world we live in, the world we occupy, like I interviewed at Amazon years ago, and, it's like a whole day interview, and you have a buddy there. And this woman was my kind of guide through the interview day. And I had lunch with her, and we were talking about kids, and she said, oh, I can't I can't even think about that, because it's like career suicide. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, she's so young and this is her perception of the world. And she's working, for one of the leaders, this is, Amazon's a huge company. They're leading the workforce in terms of standards. And, she doesn't even feel safe enough, right, to imagine a future with a child, which is everybody's prerogative. I think that changing the working model of like the world we think we inhabit, a big part of that is by listening to other people's stories and seeing leaders that have 4 kids or leaders that don't have any kids and have 7 dogs or leaders that, hate sports, right? Like we need diversity so that we can all kind of imagine more opportunity for ourselves and we're not so afraid of being seen.
Amazing. We've got like 6 minutes left. Maybe Susan and Fincy, one last word, and then I think Anu wanted to join us to say a few words also at the end, sorry. So please go on, Susan. Just to wrap up on a few words.
I'm not sure if we have, I couldn't hear the last part.
Yeah, I was just saying that because we're almost done with our time. Do you have any last words to share with the audience related to the awards or anything you would like to share?
Yes, please, well, if you are interested in artificial intelligence, come and join us. But if you are no women in AI, no worries, because we welcome to any women with any background, no matter what background you have or where you are from. But if you are interested in technology or in artificial intelligence, please come and join us. Of course, this is a technology that is going to change, or it's changing our lives in different ways. We have artificial intelligence when we use our cell phones or when we browse on the web. So this is a technology that is going to change many areas, in at work, in our daily life. But of course, this is a community, that we welcome to everyone as well, no matter which gender, women, men, of course, and please follow the Women in AI Awards, the different things that we will be doing. Of course, I encourage, if any Mexican women is watching this, please, if you feel that you can apply for the Women in AI Awards, don't hesitate to do it. Please, we want to know you. We want to celebrate you. We want to we want to know who you are, and we want to know, the amazing job that you are doing. Please, no, because sometimes, this happens that women don't believe, in themselves. And sometimes I'm sure that even you, girls, that you are here right now with me, sometimes, sometimes you don't believe in yourself, sometimes you don't wake up in the morning and maybe you wake up in the morning and maybe you don't think that you are the best, or that you can make it that day. But that doesn't matter, for that reason, we are doing all these such as amazing effort and to inspire more, of course. And if you know another woman that can apply for Mexico, please let us or tell her about this, because we are looking for them.
And I can say, talking to Susan in the morning, it makes you believe you're the best person in the world, okay?
Yes,
All right, thank you. Very quickly.
Yeah, quickly. I'll talk 2 things just to wrap up the whole thing. So, if you are a woman in AI, we want to know you. And think about enrolling in, some mentoring program for people who are entering the early stage career professionals or undergraduates. mentorship helps a lot in, taking that fear off, giving them more confidence and giving them hope. And if you're not a woman in AI, but who would like to get into AI, we would like to meet you. You can be part of our community and we can better support you to get that entry or foot in the door. And secondly, please watch all of our spaces, Women in AI, LinkedIn, our website, all over USA, Canada, and Mexico, LinkedIn pages for more updates. Our application process is going to be open soon, and nominate yourself or nominate another person that you know who's doing a remarkable job. And we are looking for you.
We're looking for you. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. We're 1 minute actually before the time, but I have to jump to another session right after. So
I have a quick announcement for the companies. Anybody out there that wants to sponsor the Women in AI North American events, please get in touch with us. We are looking for
definitely.
sponsors.
And I left the email address of the Waywars NA. So please, maybe our group can repost it again, and we can also keep this session if there's any Q&A, because we kind of didn't have time for Q&A. I can actually leave this room for that, but I have to jump to the next session, which is about ethics, AI, and gender gap, which I suggest everyone who is interested to join. So, and I think Anu wanted also to join the session, but please feel free, open bar. If you want to stay.
Thanks everyone for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
So connect on LinkedIn if you want.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, then. Take care, everyone. Happy
Bye.
Women's Day. Happy Women's Day.
Feliz Día de la Mujer.
Bye. Good luck.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.